over 500,000 Olympic tickets remain unsold. Let's speak to John Cushing, who's talkSPORT's Olympics reporter. Hi, John.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Alex.
Hundreds of thousands of tickets for the Paris Olympic Games, including the 100-metre finals and the opening ceremony, remain unsold less than a week before the start of the Games. Now, look, obviously, these are not just the 90 quid cheap tickets. Well, not that 90 quid is that cheap, but they are the cheapest tickets that you can get to get into these events. But these are the more expensive end of the wedge. I mean, are we overblowing this, or is this a serious problem?
Do you want to know? Well, look, that's the headline. There's 500,000 tickets unsold. Do you know how many they've actually sold?
How many?
8.8 million. That's the highest ever for any Olympic Games end of. So more than London 2012, more than Rio, more than any other city. Paris has sold more Olympic tickets than ever. They have hit their target. Remember when London 2012 was staged, it was partly funded by the government in this country. In Paris, the Paris ticket sales are funding the Olympics. So they have hit their target. So yes, there's 500,000 that are still available. Yes, the fact that 100 metres on Sunday, August 4th is not available. But what I think is interesting on that, Sam, is that maybe the story isn't there for the men's 100 metres at the moment. I spoke to Noah Lyles on Saturday at the Diamond League. He is going to be a superstar. But unless you've seen him on Sprint on Netflix, you probably don't know who he is at the moment. When you had London, you had Usain Bolt. You still had Usain Bolt. For Rio, he was looking to do the treble, I think he was trying to do. He had one of those taken away, of course, from one of his teammates in a relay, failing a drugs test. But they were stories, and that's why the men's 100 metres was being sold. Marcel Jacobs, the Italian, is the reigning Olympic champion. He's not, in the nicest possible sense, he's not going to sell all the tickets with him potentially defending his title. So, look, I agree with you. It's not a great headline, but actually, if you dig into it, Paris 2024 is actually doing and actually overachieving what they said they were going to do. Yeah,
I mean, the one thing that you might say, though, is despite the fact that you've made a great case for them hitting their budget and hitting their targets in terms of selling the tickets, and 8.5 million is certainly quite a lot of tickets to sell over a 3-week period. However, does it sort of beg the question that they've had to sell more and more tickets and put on bigger venues and put on more and more events in order to try and hit that budget?
No, because what they're trying to do with these games is they've only built 2 new venues. So they're using all past stadiums and venues. The 1924 Paris athletics track is being used for the hockey. The hockey will be played in that stadium in Paris. They're using Versailles for the equestrian events, very much like London did with Greenwich Park. So I don't think they've actually done these games in a slightly different way in terms of not building new things. You saw in Sochi with the Winter Olympics when the Russians just built everything brand new. Rio had to build a lot of new things as well. The Olympics is changing. This is supposed to be the most sustainable games ever, not just in terms of the green issues that we know affect the world, but actually not building new stadiums, not leaving white elephants. It was such a big thing with London 2012. But look, I agree with you. There's still a week to go. What Paris 2024 have told us is we're in the final delivery plan of those tickets. So they know how many media are going to turn up. I'm on the Eurostar tomorrow. I'm out there for talkSPORT. They know how many people are going to turn up. They will then work out, well, actually, we can release some more tickets. We can release the seats, and we can make sure actually we can now sell these because we needed to protect them because the media have to be there. You've just got back from the Euros. You know how many media are in these stadiums. So that's why there's always some tickets still available in the last week in the big run up to the games. The interesting one, though, I will just say, is that there are still tickets available for the opening ceremony. And I say the opening ceremony because it's very different, of course, because it's along the River Seine. It's all the athletes parading on a boat, different boats, along 6 kilometres, 3 miles. I'm not sure I'd pay for that. It's for TV audiences. It's going to look incredible.
You wouldn't pay for it, bearing in mind there's 200,000 free places on the riverbank if you just turn up and line the route.
Exactly. So you can see why those tickets are still available. And it's such a TV event, isn't it? You're going to see some amazing sights, the Eiffel Tower, the Champs-Élysées, the Notre Dame as it's coming through. So you want to watch that on the telly, or as you say, on the riverbank. You're not necessarily going to buy the tickets. But look, I think they've got some work to do. They've got to try and make sure, like the first few days of London 2012, where there were empty seats and people were not happy about it, they've got to make sure that the aesthetics are all right when the games start on Saturday.
John, have you inadvertently hit the nail on the head, though, as to why maybe the demand for the 100-metre finals in particular is not what it used to be? Because you said that unless you're a real aficionado, a real athletics fan, then you're not going to know some of the stories. I've got the Sun here with me today. I know it's been a busy weekend in terms of we had the Open, we had cricket. I mean, there's not much going on in the football world. You have to go 10 pages from the back into the sports section for their Olympic countdown. Only 4 days to go. Is it an issue that maybe the mainstream media, and I'll say television companies as well, are not giving the type of exposure to these sports and these athletes that maybe they were going into London 2012 and previous Olympic Games?
Yeah, I think the world has moved on, Alex, in terms of there's so much exposure out there, isn't there? It's not just the TV stations that can do it. It is all online. It is social media as well. But I do think that there are stories there to be told, and they need to be told. Now, Noah Lyles, I mentioned him. He's going for 4 golds in Paris. He's just broke his personal best in London 2 days ago, 9.81 in the men's 100 metres. He's the reigning world champion. He wants to win 3 golds in the sprints, the 100, 200 and the 4x1, and then he wants to go in the 4x4 as well. That's what Carl Lewis was doing way back in 1984, and everyone remembers him, and he'll of course be out in Paris with Louis Hinchcliffe, the great British sprinter who he's training at the moment. So I think there are stories to be told, and I think this is a games where you will get new names. There's a big, you'll see it with Team GB. There are still some London 2012 heroes, Tom Daley, Sir Andy Murray, Helen Glover, but there's a Max Whitlock, but there are also some brand new names that you won't know yet. But in 3 weeks' time, you will absolutely know. They've all been world champions. They will come through, the likes of Emma Finnecane, who is the world sprint champion in cycling. She's going to be the next Dame Laura Kenny in terms of British cycling. So these are the stories that we will develop in the next 3 weeks. But you're right, we still need to make sure, and World Athletics told me at the weekend, actually, that they want more of their athletes to be successful. You kind of want Noah Lyles, he's the double world champion, to win the Olympic Games, because then you build that agenda.
He starts to build a legacy and a story. Yeah,
exactly
absolutely.
Right. Exactly right.
Is there another problem here that obviously it's very difficult to sort of pinpoint, if you're not an aficionado of all of these sports, then to pick the event that you want to go to for the reasons you already outlined. And actually, maybe because you know that there's so much access available to you on television, and I think Discovery Plus are doing, from what I understand, they're doing a brilliant job of making sure that there is so much available to the consumer who sits at home and watches it, that actually it's become a bit of a TV event rather than an in-person live event, I must be there event. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And the Olympics, I think it was around 1984 when the Olympics realised that TV was the way that it was going to get bigger and bigger, because the funding came in. And we know that NBC in America is the main driver of that. But you mentioned Discovery and Warner Brothers as well. They have the European rights, and they are showing every single court, every single bit of sport. You will be able to go and watch on that. And of course, you'll be able to hear it on the radio with talkSPORT as well. And that's the beauty of these games, that the broadcasters are going to be there and bringing you the story. But you're right, as a spectator, yes, you want to go and be there, but also you do want to sit back on your sofa and relax and watch this sport happening as well. I think the thing with Paris is, and I think we feel it really, really closely because it's so close. It feels like a home games. It's a train ride away. I'm not getting on a plane tomorrow. I'm getting on a train to go to the Olympics, and it feels a bit like London 2012. And we all remember what an amazing summer that was for this country in terms of not just what happened in terms of sporting success in the Olympics and the Paralympics, but what London was like and what it was like. And I think Paris will feel that as well. They have had the flame going round. It's in Paris. I think it's in Versailles tomorrow. We probably are a bit detached from that at the moment. But when the games get underway in 4 days' time, as Alex rightly says, it will all begin to come together, I think.
And I've got to say, 2012, I was lucky enough to get a ticket for the tennis, the final, when Andy Murray won Olympic gold, and that sort of catapulted him then to become a multiple Grand Slam champion. The atmosphere on centre court was like nothing I've ever experienced at a tennis match, and I'll always remember it. So if anyone out there who is in two minds about whether to watch on TV or actually get to a stadium, you won't regret it.
Listen, I went to a couple of the football games in 2012, and also went to the Paralympics in 2012 as well at the London Stadium. It was absolutely jam-packed. It was brilliant night's entertainment. It really was absolutely superb. But even in the last 10 years, John, and maybe I'm being, maybe I'm wrong here, but it feels like football has swallowed so much of the national attention in terms of sport that all of these stories have been pushed to the sidelines. And actually, by the time you get to the Olympics, it's coming at a time which is in between the end of the Euros and the start of the new football season. And it's competing for attention, isn't it? It needs to sort of stand up, wave its hands around and say, look, we are still here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, which is why the likes of World Athletics are doing deals with Netflix, and they created Sprint, which is the very Drive to Survive. It's what it's all based on. It's got Noah Lyles, it's got Shakira Richardson, Zarnell Hughes from a Great British point of view. Also on Netflix, Simone Biles. If you haven't watched her documentary, that is incredible. Her literal demise in Tokyo, where she could not compete while on her apparatus, and to come back and try and win golds in Paris is going to be a story and a half. But yeah, everyone's fighting for the space, Sam. You're absolutely right. You're trying to get you front and center. I could tell you a number of British athletes who I think are guaranteed medals at these games, and nobody at the moment, you would not know who they were, unless, as you say, you were like me and massively into the Olympics week in, week out. And that's what all I would say is to anyone who's thinking, I don't know about the Olympics. These are world champions, they're European champions, they're Commonwealth champions. They're doing more training and working just as hard as anybody else to achieve what they want to achieve. And if we can give them that spotlight in the next 2 weeks, that will make them. They really want to go there and put on a show, and they want to do it for the country as well. We heard a lot about the football in the last few weeks about whether people were playing for the badge. They all want to do it for Team GB.
Katarina Johnson-Thompson, she's 100% fit, is she?
Well, I spoke to her on Saturday, actually, afterwards. She said she's feeling good, is the phrase. She obviously pulled out of the European Championships, Athletics Championships. She did the long jump on Saturday. She's competing again next weekend, a couple more events in her heptathlon. She's going, of course, in 7 events over 2 days, as she does, looking for her first Olympic medal. And I said to her, are you fed up with me asking this question? Are you going to win an Olympic medal? She said, yeah. If I got £10 for every time I got asked by someone like you, are you going to win an Olympic medal? I'd be a very rich, happy woman. But look, she's a double world champion. She's a Commonwealth champion as well. I'd love her to get an Olympic medal. But when you've got Nafti Tiam, the defending Olympic champion, the Belgium, doing incredibly well and really fit and strong, and she won the Europeans, I think, in a record score as well. It's going to be tough for Kat, but she says she's good. She's feeling all right. We'll see, of course, in the Olympics starts this Friday, or this Friday is the opening ceremony, and then the athletics is the following Friday.
John, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to a couple of weeks of listening to you on talkSPORT and doing the Olympics for us here. The Olympic Games live on talkSPORT. The first events are Wednesday, the football. The opening ceremony is Friday down the River Seine, and then it all kicks into gear. There are tickets still available. I think you, on another occasion, might spend the €195 to go and watch the women's 100-metre finals on a Saturday night. I think you might do that on another day. Saturday the 3rd of August, what are you actually doing? I think you can do that.
I'll be at Goodwood.
I'm on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, on the Sunday, £295.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.